watching Job Inside and this is Millie. I hope all of you are doing good. I know I'm posting a video after a really long time, but I was traveling and I have been to some of the most beautiful places, and now that I'm back home, I have read some of your requests on my channel. Probably one or two of you want me to do a video on how to prepare and perform for a Sonru interview. So that's what's going to be my today's topic. I really appreciate you coming out like this and dropping by your requests. It's really guiding and motivating to me. And I also want others, if you do have some topics in your mind on which you need some guidance, please feel free to drop your request and I'll be happy to comply. Alright, so moving on to today's topic on how to ace a Sonru interview. And to find that out, stay tuned. Sonru interview, as many of you would know, is a one-way video interview. The questions are pre-decided and you need to record your answers and send them to the recruiter. So as in, you wouldn't know the questions beforehand, but once you start your interview by clicking on the appropriate link on the Sonru platform, you will have a set time limit to answer each and every question. And once the timer ends in a particular question, you will be automatically directed to the next interview question. So you have to finish this interview in one sitting. So during pandemic and even after that, these kind of video interviewing techniques have become very popular. It's because it's convenient to both the recruiter as well as the candidate. So you as a candidate have this provision of recording your answers at your own place and on your own time. And even the recruiter has this convenience to watch your recordings at his or her own pace. So both the parties get benefited. You as a candidate just have to mind the deadline that the recruiter sends you. So you have to send in your answers before that particular date and time. The time also according to the time zone that the recruiter mentions in the email. So in the email you will get a link through which you can log in to your Sonru platform. And you can log in either via using your cell phone or through your laptops. So now coming to the suggestions part on how to prepare and perform for a Sonru interview, I'd advise you to refer to an old video of mine which is called 9 Tips to a Successful Video Interview. That's because some of the points that I have mentioned there, they apply even here. For instance, dress professionally. So dressing professionally shows your commitment towards your work and towards the whole interview process. You need to act like it's a real face-to-face interview over here. I know it'll be difficult because you are just recording yourself. There's no person sitting on the other end, but you need to keep in mind that he or she is going to watch your recordings at some point of time, and you need to keep in mind that that person is right now sitting at the other end, and you need to record your answers in that way. Then another point is that you need to check for the technicalities, as in whether your camera is working or not, whether the mic is working or not, whether the camera is placed at a suitable angle through which your face is visible enough, there is no glare or lighting. Then you have chosen a good place to record your answers. There should be zero disturbances at that place. And also don't forget to choose a neutral background for your Sonru interviews. So that was all the aesthetics part. Now moving on to how to actually structure and how to answer for the interview questions on the Sonru platform, you need to practice a lot. The Sonru platform does provide you some practice questions which you can practice as many times as you want, but the problem is I think there are only 2 or 3 questions that are provided as a part of the practice questions. And the basic purpose behind providing these practice questions is that it gives you an idea of how you look and how you sound. So it's again the aesthetics part. So you just utilize these practice questions for the aesthetics part itself, just to check whether you look and sound perfectly, whether you sound enthusiastically or not. Because yeah, this point is very important. You need to look and you need to sound very enthusiastic about the job role that you are applying to, and also the company that you are applying to. This will play a very major role on such kind of video interviewing techniques. So to practice, you can use the most commonly asked interview questions, and you can start practicing to prepare those answers and start recording yourself. Generally what happens is, in a Sondra platform, the initial questions are icebreakers. For example, tell me something about yourself. Those kind of questions would be in the initial part of the Sonru interview. So if you prepare the most commonly asked interview questions, chances are that from those particular set of questions, some of them would appear in the initial part of your actual Sondra interview process. So you will be comfortable enough from the start because you have already prepared for such questions. So when you start recording, you will already be confident enough, comfortable enough. So a smooth flow will be generated, and then when you go to the later part of the interview process, doesn't matter if the question is very specific or very new to you. Since you have established this particular flow and the level of comfort, you will be able to answer that question also more effectively. And to practice these kind of commonly asked questions, you practice them on your own device, set a timer, record yourself, structure it in such a timely bound fashion. Usually 1.5 to 2 minutes are provided for each interview question. It really depends upon the recruiter, but that is I think the most common time limit across every industry. So you can practice accordingly. Also, for some very new questions or some very company specific questions or some situational questions, please keep in mind that you will be given some 45 seconds or 60 seconds to look at the question and think about your answer. So don't panic, just use this time to prepare your answer in your mind, to structure your answer, and just answer the questions peacefully and calmly. Remember that this is a one-shot process. You can't pause it, or you can't come back and record yourself at a later stage. Once you start your interview, you have to finish it. So make sure that you click on the interview link and you start your interview only when you feel that you are prepared enough. And just in case, while answering for some questions, if you feel that the timer ended and you weren't able to say all the things that you wanted to say, don't panic, because there's a provision at the end of all the questions of an additional time. So this is the time given to you. I think it is some 2 minutes that is given to you, in which you can add your own clarifications or explanations. So in that particular section, you can add whatever you wanted to add. Since the questions remain common for all the candidates applying to this particular job role that even you are applying to, your answers would be compared. So you need to prepare your answers in such a manner that they are competent enough and the interviewer feels that you have something more to offer than the traditional pool of people. And in case if you feel you weren't able to express yourself that effectively, that even after that extra 2 minutes you feel that you weren't satisfied with your answers, don't worry, because 60% of your answers would be looked at keeping the communication effectiveness point of view in mind. So just remember to communicate well, to communicate in a good manner in your interviews, and just keep a bit of a good structure of your answers with a good communication, and chances are that you would be called definitely for the further round of interviews. Sonru is basically an elimination round, and so only the basic competencies would be checked for. So with this, I'd like to end today's video. I hope you find it useful, and I really hope you perform well in all of your interview processes and you find your desired workplace. All the best.